Welcome everyone, this is Zozo StockWatch, and this is your StockWatch list for Friday, November 10th. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into the news that came out after the bell. NBIX had some news after the bell. Let's check that one out on our after hours chart. NBIX, not much action in it. First FDA approved product for treatment. All right, that was NBX, and that was at 4:01 p.m. This evening. Next up, we had CDNA, earnings per share revenue beat, not much action in that one. Then we had Disney come out with earnings, and actually the stock sold off. And then during the conference call, they talked about Star Wars and whatnot, and so the stock recovered off the lows here and pushed back up to 103. So nice turnaround there for Disney on the conference call. HRTX had news after the bell. It was halted, then it reopened. It popped, announces U.S. FDA approval. And that was HRTX. So the stock popped, then gave it back in the after hours tonight, HRTX. JWN, Nordstrom's had earnings and they beat, and the stock popped, but then pulled back and then went sideways in the after hours after their earnings. So Disney was an earnings per share revenue miss on Disney, and that's why the stock was down. And then they made positive comments in the conference call, and that's what turned it around. Nordstrom was earnings per share and revenue beat there for JWN. TEUM had some news after the bell, TEUM, and didn't really do much after the bell there. Next up, let's see, XON, earnings per share and revenue miss, XON, and stock basically gap down and then a little bit of a bid up in the after hours. Hertz, earnings per share and revenue beat for Hertz, and the stock was popping up to about $23, then pulled back, so very volatile, and then ended up at around $22 on Hertz. Some other names that came out, NDLS, that was after the bell tonight. Noodles, whoops, NDLS. Okay, there we go. NDLS and a little bit of a pop there on Noodles Company after hours on their earnings. Earnings per share came in line on NDLS. BDSI had earnings after the bell, BDSI, and the stock was up in after hours tonight on BDSI. Let's see what else there was for our earnings. NVIDIA, that's right. NVIDIA had earnings after the bell, and they had a 5 o'clock conference call. The stock popped, pulled back, then they went in on their conference call, and as you can see, the stock is trading 211.25 in the after hours, so nice recovery there for NVIDIA. So it looks like all systems go for NVIDIA for tomorrow. So NVIDIA was an earnings per share and revenue beat for NVIDIA, and like I said, they had their conference call. EFX. That stock was dropping in the after hours and then recovered. We have received subpoenas with respect to investigations by SEC and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Georgia, and so they're getting subpoenas now on EFX. So the stock dropped, but then recovered again on EFX. And let's see, BIOC had earnings after the bell, and that stock dropped on their revenue miss and earnings miss on BIOC. Let's see. Western Digital announces authorization to resume potential share repurchases, and that was WDC. And that stock was up a little bit in the after hours, and I just want to see if STX moved up at all. No, did not move up at all on Sympathy. DVAX had announcement FDA approval for one of their drugs, prevention of hepatitis B in adults, DVAX, and that stock was popping. Yeah, the big gap up in after hours here, trading 23.05 on DVAX, so big pop there on that name. And let's keep scrolling along and see if we see anything else as far as some news after the hours. CRSP 300 million mixed shelf on that name, and you can see the stock is down a little bit. And then CKPT 100 million mixed shelf, and basically not doing too much in the after hours. WPM is the old Silver Wheaton, and that one trickling down in the after hours on their earnings. Gal came out with earnings, a little bit of a pop. It's an under 50-cent name on Gal, and then XXII. They missed by a penny, beat on revenue, so not too much going on there in XXII. TERP, they beat by 11 cents but missed on revenue, TERP. So let's check that one out. Not much hour action in the after hours. And then earnings for tomorrow, we have BPTH, CLMT, ESES, so that's HQCL, INFU, JCPenney, PLXP, VNRX, and XIN. And then lastly, Bristol Myers had some news out after the bell tonight, and that was ticking up a little bit in the after hours on Bristol Myers. So let's go ahead and look at our economic information coming out for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We have the consumer sentiment coming out, and then we have at 1 o'clock Baker Hughes rig count, and that's for Friday, November 10th. So not much going on for economic information, and nothing going on in the Asian markets as far as economic information for tonight, Thursday. Let's check out and see what was our call and put activity for tonight. For today, we had SAND, unusual call activity, EMR, CAR, FSM, COG, BUD, GOGO, and RIG. And then to the put side, we had SMH to the put side. For our top gainers, courtesy of the trade exchange, OTIC, ROKU, SAGE, CALL, BRS, OSTK, COLL, PRAA, SEDGE, SGH, SND, IDRA, and then to the downside, MEAT, INCR, VSTO, SNES, INFN, BPMX, ALRM, BRKS, BEDU, BVXV, AFSI, and Twilio, TWLO, all to the downside. Let's check the futures tonight. Dow futures basically flat. S&P futures down about 2. NASDAQ futures down about 4 on the futures in the overnight. It's about 7:36 my time, Eastern time. Currently, gold trading down about 70 cents, and crude oil trading 57.03, down about 14 cents, down 0.24% on crude oil WTI. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few charts of the markets. The market was down, closed down. The Dow closed down about 101 points. We were down worse than that at one point, but once again, the dip buyers came in, and as you can see, the dip buyers came in right around this 20 SMA on the daily for the SPY, and we pushed it back up, and we end up closing at 258.17 on the SPY. So the dip buyers showed up here, and they showed up again. So we have another hammer candle. Now, is this going to play out like it did back in October the 25th? We'll see if we get a grind up now again. We'll need a confirmation candle to see. So today the market was at a low of 256.36, and they closed it at 258.17. If we look at the IWM, they came in around that 146 area and closed it up by the 50 SMA for the IWM. So we'll see what they want to do next as far as this goes. We're still below the fast moving averages on the IWM. IWC, not as much of a recovery there for the micro caps for the IWC. The transports, we'll take a look at that. Transports today were down about 113 points. We came down even further than that. Whoops, let me get to the transport. Sorry about that. So we came down and broke through this 100 SMA on the transports. So not looking too good here for the transports. If we go back to the Dow Jones 30, all right, you see we came down to the 20 SMA the first time in a long time. We actually came and tested the 20 SMA and they bounced it off that and brought it back up. BB. We came down to we finally broke this 150 SMA and we came right down to the 200 SMA. If you listened to the video last night, I said they might be bringing it down to the 200 SMA, and that's pretty much exactly where they brought it down to. And now we have to see if we're going to get a confirmation candle back to the upside on the IBB. And if I go back to the transports, getting a little bit oversold here might be due for a bounce in the transports, and we'll look at the IYT also. So, we came down from about 182 area down to about 171. So maybe possible bounce setting up in the IYT. We'll have to see on that. All right, so that's some of the markets. Oh, and we'll take a look at the QQQ real fast on the daily. Sorry for all the lines. I line them on the intraday charts, and sometimes they carry over to the daily charts. But the QQQ came down to the 13 EMA around that 152 spot. Now let's see if they want to turn it back up, or are we going to have another like an inside day tomorrow? So we'll have to see what they want to do with the Qs. But nice recovery here. The buy the dip crowd came in and pushed us back up on the QQQ. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the watch list for tomorrow, Friday, November 10th. First one up is this ADMA, and you see the big volume, expanded volume here on ADMA, trying to get back over this 250 spot on the name ADMA. So I'll have that one on watch. ANTH, starting to break out here, trying to get over this 190 spot, then maybe up through $2 on ANTH, 1.1 million shares traded. ANY was up in the after hours a tad here, so I'll have this one on watch to see if there's any kind of continuation move. It got through $3 in the after hours and into the close here, so we'll see if it wants to set up again intraday on ANY. CNIT, China name, nice pop here in the name, 1.1 million shares traded, breaking out of this wedge here on CNIT. So we'll see if there's any continuation in that one. Craig, big pop here on this name, CREG. Put some of the folks in the service at ZozoStockWatch.com, traded this one and got some very nice moves in CREG. Big volume came into this name also. So that one will be on watch again for tomorrow. Depot, trying to actually getting over the 50 SMA. Maybe it wants to fill this gap back here. So we'll see on this one. What looks like it needs to get over 6 now, and 3.5 million shares traded. ECYT, after this big gap up, it consolidated for a while around this $4 spot. Now it's starting to turn back up. So we'll have this one on watch for tomorrow also. ENPH, we'll see if there's any more continuation through $1.90. 1.4 million shares. It's a semiconductor name. So we'll see if this one wants to break that 190 spot and move up through 2. FCX, possible swing trade here. I'm going to watch this one for possible swing trade entry if it can take out maybe 14.90 or so. The previous high was 14.94. So if we can get over like that 14.90 area, maybe it'll continue up through 15 for FCX. IOVA. Looking for this one to take out $8. Volume was over 600,000 shares. So if it can break that 790 area, maybe it breaks through 8 on IOVA. That's a biotech. Nordstrom's, well, let me show you Macy's first. Macy's big pop here, over 60 million shares traded, nice pop. And then JWN had earnings after the bell, like I mentioned. So I'm looking to see if this thing wants to recover and continue back up on this name on JWN Nordstrom's. Might give us a trade like Macy's did. LB also. Starting to consolidate here around the 200 SMA. If we can take out, these previous highs here, we had 48.49, so over 48, 40, 48.50, we might get a nice continuation move in L brands. Next up, Lulu had a nice pop and breakout today on this name, as you can see from the line here. Finally got over that 63 spot. We do have some resistance up there at 64.81, but it's kind of minor resistance, so we'll see if that one wants to maybe pull back and set up for a possible swing trade in Lulu. Like I said, with Nordstrom's, and this one reported earnings yesterday. Nice candle here. We'll see if there's any kind of continuation move. MLCO, maybe possible swing trade here in this name. Looking for it to take out maybe 25.50 to turn back up on Melco. Next up, we have an energy name, NR. Trying to get over this highs from today, which was 983, so maybe 990 might get us through $10 on NR. Party had earnings today, big candle, big volume. So we'll see if this has any type of intraday setup on PRTY. PSDV, looking for this one to take out the highs from today, maybe 138, 139, and possible continuation through that 140. Starting to push out and up with a nice volume, 2.1 million shares. RGSE, after hours, the stock climbed. It had earnings after hours, and so the stock pushed up. So we'll see if there's any kind of setup in this one tomorrow. Roku, looking for maybe a pullback in the name and then a continuation move up on Roku. But I'll be watching this one tomorrow and, for the weeks ahead to see if I can get any kind of setup in Roku. RTNB, this one, nice pop today. 8 million shares traded. Got as high as $1.60, so maybe $1.45 or so. We might get a continuation move in RTNB. Run, another solar name, almost 3 million shares traded, maybe back over, 630, 635, and maybe we get a run in Run. SGOC, big pop today. We'll see how this one sets up intraday. Volume was 3 million shares in SGOC. SGRY, Medicare, 1.1 million shares traded. Looking for maybe that break of 980, and maybe we get a continuation move in that one. TK, nice pop here, 2.1 million. Oil and gas name, trying to get back over $9, closed at $8.90. Maybe a possible swing trade in this TK. TRVN, 2 million shares traded, trying to get over $1.75. In the after hours and into the close, it was moving up and actually traded at $1.77. So this one will be on watch tomorrow. Twitter, trying to get back over this 10 SMA here, which is about 2023, so maybe 2025 on this name, and maybe it moves back up. UEC, nice pop here. Let's see if there's any kind of setup continuation name on this name. CCJ, I believe, had earnings, and that stock popped 8 million shares, so maybe that's why UEC moved up in sympathy. So we'll see on that one. Vuzi, nice pop. Over 700,000 shares traded. So basically looking for a continuation move or a pullback setup, something along those lines. And XRF, another China name, 1.9 million shares traded, and looking for an intraday setup on this name. And let me just check out CCR. Not doing too much. This is another China name. You might want to keep an eye on this name to see if this wants to join the party with the China stocks. I know KNDI had earnings today, but that stock basically gave it up. And so that's another China name, but it didn't really do much today. Kind of a very bearish, engulfing type of candle there. And I think that's about it for the watch list for tomorrow. Everybody have a great Friday trading. Thank you so much for watching the YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notifications. And also, if you like these videos, if they're helping you out, please hit the like button. And I'd really appreciate that. And if you want to throw them out on your Twitter feed and retweet them, I'd appreciate that also. All right, have a very good day trading tomorrow, Friday. This is Zozo from ZozoStockWatch.com, and I'll see you over the weekend.